4 views. Woohoo!
Fuck you, come on.
We are recording now.
Oh, sorry. I'll mute myself.
Hey guys, welcome to an episode of PGL Pod. We are back with the PGL Pod. How's it feel to be back there with my co-host over there, Bogey Express? How's it feel to be back, Bogey?
Feels like we just left. Like I was here like 5 minutes ago. Feels great.
Yeah. Yeah, so I can tell you these things were a pain in the butt back in the day, though, when I used to have to try to do everything in the world to get our voices to go through. So finding these new programs are making things much easier. But we're going to try to do these once a week. I think next week's a holiday, so we might change the schedule just for next week. But generally, we're going to have these on Monday nights. If you're tuning in, this is a podcast we do here via Twitch, and we'll put it on YouTube that follows our Premier Gaming League's website. So over at premiergamingleagues.com. If you're interested, what we do right now is we have a Madden football league that we run. So if you're interested in that, come on out and join us. We would love to have you. So again, check us out there. Send us in. We use Slack as our way of communicating. So how you been, Bogey? I mean, what we're going to jump right into is that draft recap. And guys, be sure to follow this channel. That way you get the notification every time we go live. Make sure you're doing that. But let's get right into things and talk about that draft that we had last night. So, what is your thought on the way that draft went last night?
Well, I thought it was a good draft. It was a nice little broadcast we had. You're going to ask me how the draft results were? I thought they sucked. I thought I had an 8.5% chance of having my ball drawn first, and I was the guy that had the most lottery balls and got the lowest pick. So I got the 12th pick. I'm not happy about it. So I have to wait for everybody else to pick all the good teams, and then I get to take what's left over. But it was a nice conversation all day today in Slack. A lot of conversation about it.
Okay. Yeah, definitely some lots of conversation going on there about it. So was definitely going. So working on our volume here a little bit. I see that Guar's letting us know. So Bogey, say something again, and let's see if Guar's able to hear you there. You able to hear him?
Hey, Guar, can you hear me now? I'm not whispering. Might just have to turn up his TV.
Yeah, he might have to. So we'll see if he can hear him or not. So we're working on that. We're testing out new things here. So hopefully this goes through. We'll just see how it goes. So he's saying it's a little bit better now. So we'll go with that and see how things go. But I hear you with the draft. Definitely, people saying it's rigged, but it can't be rigged if the two admins are getting picks down where they did. We know that's for sure. And we knew the guy who got the number one pick what he wanted. So it's just kind of interesting. Now we're on a holding pattern. A lot of guys really just wanting to know what's going on. It was kind of funny in the chat today watching all the chatter going back and forth. So it was definitely cool with that. So, what's your thoughts on what do you think Playmaker's going to go? Where do you think he's going to go with things?
I don't know. Playmaker's, he never makes the same pick. You never really know where he's going to go. I have some inside information. I don't know that I should share with the group. But he did say he was going AFC, if I remember right. I think I can share at least that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. It'd be interesting because I know that I'm definitely looking at different teams and possible AFC teams or NFC. Who knows at this point because it's a lot could shake out going in front of that. So we got a good idea where Guar is going to possibly go. What we've been guessing with. So I think you and I both kind of have our feelings. Thought that he might take Seattle. He was with them last year. Strongly looks like he's going there. You think he could possibly go anywhere else?
I think he's going to go Seattle. I mean, I know he's a Cowboy fan. I wouldn't be surprised if he took Dallas. But I think he liked Seattle last year in Madden 16. The only other team I think he might consider to be going back to like Madden 15 where he was Carolina. So I'd say Seattle, Dallas, and Carolina would be his picks.
Okay, cool. Anybody else down there you see as some surprises just up on our list? Any whispers that you're hearing out there?
Rumor has it Venus is not going to take his traditional Eagles. He's going to go somewhere else. So we might have a different winner in the NFC East other than the Eagles, unless somebody else takes them. Why they would subject themselves to that, I don't know. They don't look very good on paper to me anyway. We all know Fixation Sensation's a Bronco fan, so I wouldn't be surprised if he went there if they're available. Paddlefoot, I believe he's a Packer fan, but the guy never seems to draft his own team. It's like he talks all this smack about the Packers being great, but he won't play with them in Madden. So I can't figure that out.
Yeah, I think he's played at another site, and he sometimes has him there. I don't know if he's playing on that same site this year, but yeah, it is interesting. You get that chance to take your team in a top 4 pick, and it looks like it's all there in the making for him. I can tell you some rumors I've heard is if he doesn't take them, somebody sitting in behind him is going to be real happy because it seems we find out that the Awesome Bro, that's his team. He's a big Packer fan. That being Ultimate Niner's son, but he's a big Packer fan, so I think he's hoping that they drop down there to him.
Yeah, that's true. If that happens and the Packers go before 11, I think it is, when Tut picks, it'd be interesting to see how it affects the rest of the draft because we're all used to Tut having the Packers, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of team he would go with, which I'm kind of looking forward to, just to see where he goes. I mean, I know how he likes to play the game, but I would like to see what kind of personnel he would go for.
All right. Yeah, so, it's kind of hard to pick things after that, so I think we'll see what goes on after these first 5-6 picks comes in. I know I sent out picks, PMs to picks through 6, so that'll start to really change things, I think, after tonight when we get these picks in. So anything else you want to add to the draft recap? Any surprises, anybody? Besides yourself, I know you're hurt by things, but other than that, I think it was a good, fun time last night, pulling that out and guys getting to watch the draft come out like that.
Yeah, I thought it added a cool aspect to our league. We're always trying to get guys more involved. And, we did the podcast, and guys seem to really like that. But the fact that we can kind of do this stuff sort of kind of live together on Twitch is really, really kind of cool. I thought it was a good draft. Nice recap. Good to have a couple of the older guys back. And according to the chat, Venus Delta has confirmed that he will not be taking the Eagles. He will not be taking the Eagles.
Oh, okay. Any whispers on, anything you've heard out there in the rumor mill?
Nothing I can confirm nor deny. I do know that it looks like he's going to be in the NFC. No, wait. I think he's going to go AFC. If that team was to be gone before his pick, he has a solid NFC team to take. So I think he's looking AFC first, which is a change. Could change the balance of power and affect picks later on down the road.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. All right, so we'll leave the draft recap again. I think that was pretty good. So just a couple little things we want to talk about. One rule that we want to kind of just remind guys on that it's being brought back again this year. We did it last year, and that was that you guys will not be able to use custom playbooks. I think that worked out well last year. We shy away from the use of custom playbooks because guys will just find the money plays in all the different playbooks and use them as their own. So you must pick a team-specific playbook to use. So make sure you're doing that. Any caught of this not being followed basically is instant removal of the league and banned for 1 year. So let's make sure we stick with that and everything. So go along with that. So that's that rule. I know some questions that I've been asked out there also is so we still got a Super Bowl to play for Madden 16. Of course, that's going to be against you and myself. Playing for that Super Bowl, so I'm going for, it looks like my 5th Super Bowl win, although it's been a couple seasons, a couple titles since I've had one, but you're going for your 4th Super Bowl, and you've already got one on this title, so what's your thoughts going into the Super Bowl as we're going to be playing this Friday night coming up?
Well, my thoughts are my opponent runs a balanced offense, runs a pretty similar defense to what I have, makes good adjustments in game, doesn't lose his cool, does about everything that I don't do. I get mad. I lose my cool. I get frustrated. I go crazy. And my opponent is just he's like Matty Ice. He's got ice water in his veins. He's just real quiet in the chat, runs his offense. I might even know what he's calling. Doesn't mean I'll be able to stop it. So I think it should be a good game. I'm hoping for a close one. Hopefully, obviously, I want to win. But I have no idea how it's going to end up.
Yeah, it's a good one. Like you said, I think it will be a good Super Bowl. I look at you as the guy I get in my head as well because you play such good defense and we play similar defense. You've got that photographic memory. So when you see my play, setup, in a sense, you've got a good idea of what I'm thinking of doing. Although like you said, I do try to mix it up, and I can make some adjustments pretty good. I think that's something that, in fact, you've taught me pretty well, is just learning adjustments. Being my lab partner, we know each other pretty well, so I think it'll be a good matchup. Quick question I see just to Venus over here in the chat is any team. I believe he's talking about the playbooks there, and that is correct. Yeah, any team you want to use playbook-wise is fine. If you have the Eagles like you did last year, you want to use the Vikings playbook, you're more than welcome to do that. And it could be the Vikings offense and say the Patriots defense. It doesn't matter as long as it's a team playbook. Just no custom playbooks.
Yeah, that's correct. And something we might talk about, or we can talk about later, is we might make it I don't know, I'm thinking maybe we make it a rule where you have to show your playbook before the game. I don't know. We haven't really had any problems with anybody trying to make a custom playbook and then cheat. So I don't know that that's mandatory. But if we get word that somebody's running some really weird offense that doesn't seem to fit with the playbook, we might require guys to show pre-screen. If you ask me what playbooks I'm running, I'll tell you. So, or I'll even show it in the team pick or whatever at the game start. Just something to think about. But it can't be any team playbook, and I believe we are not allowing run heavy, pass balanced, run and shoot, run and gun. Correct?
That's correct. So it has to be a team specific playbook. So none of the custom or what you would call just generic type playbooks that they have out there, the 4-3s, the 3-4s, those type of things, like you mentioned on the offensive one. So it must be a team-specific playbook on offense and defense. They can be different teams with whatever you want. Yep. All right, so we talked about Super Bowl. So again, that's going to be this coming Friday night, guys. So come check that out. That will be broadcast right here on this channel. So again, follow our channel, the Premier Gaming League's channel, and you'll get notification of that broadcast when we go live. That'll be played sometime Friday evening. At least 7, 8 o'clock at night. I'm sure that we'll start that up at some point. So be on the lookout for that. History. I want to just I have updated the history books for MFPL. We started keeping track of history. This is our 25th season, but we didn't have all the records back in the day. I didn't own the site at the time, but since taking over, trying to keep record history, we started keeping records in the 10th season. So we've got 14 seasons I think now that are booked. So we want to kind of highlight some things that are going on there. So what we want to show there is some of the history. Over here is showing you guys our Century Club guys. So guys that now have over 100 wins. So we've got, let's see if I can bring this over here where you guys can see this. So it's going to be a little tight here, but get my numbers here. So, all right, so we got 226 wins for myself on the top. Bogey went over the 200 win plateau this past season with 209. In fact, let's tighten these up a little bit so we can see all this on one screen. Bear with me a quick second, guys. There we go. Zeldo creeping his way up there. He's got 179 wins. Venus with his 172 wins total now. We will skip the next guy for just a second. We're going to come back to him in just a second. Laz got up there with 130 wins. Guar making a big push. He had a nice Madden 16 season, I thought. Title, and he's up to 121 wins now. Paddlefoot at 117. The one guy I skipped, I was looking through this and thinking, oh, who else is in here? And I saw this guy with 160 wins, and it's kind of interesting. You slide your way over and look at who that guy is, and that's Z guy. And this guy, I don't think he did not play this past title, and I'm trying to remember, did he even play Madden 25? I can't remember.
I think he did.
Okay, he might have been, okay, so he just maybe took one title off, but this is a strong competitor. We'll definitely tell you that this is a strong competitor coming out, so kind of interesting to see a guy with 160 wins coming in, and you see he has made 2 Super Bowls, and when he's been in the Super Bowl, he's won both those titles, so definitely a tough competitor.
Yes, in Madden 25, he was the Raiders, I was the Chiefs, I believe.
Okay. All right, so we might throw some things out there here and there, looking at the history and pulling things in and looking at different guys here and there through our history books and some of the PGL pods that we have in the future. So next section we want to talk a little bit about is MUT. So a little bit of MUT talk. So Bogey, you and I both play tons of MUT. I know you've always, we invest quite a bit of time in there. You a little more than I do. as we get later in the season. But if you can give these guys, we got guys actually hyped up this year a little bit more, I think, than we've had in the past. Finally seeing what MUT is about and some fun that it can be. And I can tell you that I think MUT is where my game elevated 2 years ago. Is just from playing MUT. And yeah, you play some cheese and you play some guys that are cheesy, but you learn to see that stuff and recognize a lot more by playing that. But just getting started with MUT for some of these guys, what are a couple tips that you can give these guys for starting in MUT?
Well, the first tip that I would give guys for MUT is don't waste your coins on overpriced players early in MUT. Everybody thinks they got to get the best player out there right away. That's not going to happen. You're going to pay 50,000 coins for a guy today, and next week he'll be half that price, if not more than that. And then every couple weeks, every month, whatever, more players come out, and there's always going to be another version of that same player that's even better. Right now, most elites are like rated 85. There's going to be guys that are, there's a couple 92s out there for doing some of the grinding and the solos. But an 85 quarterback today, that same quarterback might come out in 2 months and be a 90 rated player. So definitely don't spend all your coins on overpriced players early on in the MUT season. Another tip I would give you, don't pay attention to the overall so much. Build your team on the traits of the players and their attributes, not just their overall ratings. You don't have to have 85 elite middle linebacker with 90 play rec and 85 zone and all these other great stats if it's going to be your user. All you really need for a user middle linebacker or user defender is speed, acceleration, and good agility, because the rest of the stuff is pretty much irrelevant. Maybe the catch rating, but my experience on user skills is if you're doing it right, you're going to catch the ball more than you're not. So speed, acceleration, agility for your user. If it's going to be CPU controlled, if you run a 3-4 defense, I would go with a good middle linebacker 1, so a good rating with good awareness, good play rec, good zone, stuff like that, good speed. And then for the user, like I said, you can go with a 69 rated silver player that's got 88 speed, 85 excel. That's all you need.
All right, cool. Thanks for those updates. We've got a question in the chat here. Let's kind of take that real quick. So JCB's asking, can we change the gameplay within the team's playbook?
Absolutely.
So that's during the game, yeah, absolutely. So you just can't go and change the playbook stuff before that turns it into a custom playbook. So you can't change the audibles back in the settings screen to set things up that way, but you can change the gameplay within the team playbook while you play. So you can use those bottom things and move people in and out wherever things are that you do. I mean, I can tell you that I got a playbook that moves a wide receiver into a halfback position basically on the outside, and if I go into a huddle, he possibly could end up at halfback if it's kind of in those situations that are allowed in our gameplay, right? So we only allow certain no huddle, so just make sure you're reading the rules there. I mentioned something about no huddle, and you sound like you could be twisting things, but just remember that if it's kind of within the game that happens in real football, we're all good for that. We have no problems with that. You see a Randall Cobb lining up in the backfield at times, right? So that happens. So just know that you can make changes like that, no problem.
Yeah, and I think specifically what he's talking about is inside the actual CFM when you go to the gameplay or game plan of the specific team. You can change your quarterback from West Coast to mobile, your halfback from a one cut to a power. You can change your team scheme from, let's say, power run to West Coast. That's obviously allowed, and that basically just affects your roster with what your players' overalls will be represented for you as you see the depth chart and roster. When I look at your team, if I have the same as you call it, gameplay or game plan setup as you do, then I will see the same ratings. If I have a power scheme running team with my team and you have a, let's say, spread team, then your wide receiver overalls will be affected if, let's say, I have possession receivers and you have them as route runners. And it tells you the little blurbs at the bottom of the game plan stuff with how the overall rating is affected. Like route runner is affected by the primary attribute is route running. So if the guy's got a really high route running rating, his overall will be higher than, say, my possession receiver who has the same route running, but it's not as integral to the overall, if that makes sense. So you absolutely can do that. You just can't do anything with your playbook that would make it custom. And one of those would be like Fat talked about, taking a team playbook, going in, changing your audibles, saving it. You can't use that. Even though it's the team playbook, you've changed the audibles. You cannot do that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I took that a little bit different. I was seeing gameplay within the game, but that makes a lot of sense out there where you're talking. So it totally makes sense. And actually, that's good to bring up because when people start to trade, it's good to tell us what type of gameplay you have people set up on, because when we look at trades as administrators, we need to go look at that, because we may look at a guy and be like, that trade's nowhere near fair, but that's because it's looking at our settings. So that's definitely a good thing to know. All right,
right.
Cool.
Yeah, and your comment was completely valid, because there are times when you're going to see certain guys in the backfield.
Yep. That's cool. All right, so let's see. Again, don't forget to follow the channel here. Hit that follow button here at Twitch, and make sure you're following us so that way you know when we become live. Again, we're going to try to do this once a week at least, and it'll almost always be on Mondays. So we will, let you know when it's not. Like I said, next week I think we'll try to do it a different day, being that it's a Labor Day next Monday. So I think we might do Wednesday, might work out, but we'll see. Bogey and I will talk, see what works best for us. So, okay. So next little part we're going to finish up with is I kind of went through, and one thing I'd like to get from guys this year, if at all possible, is a little bit more video highlights. Especially if we're going to do this show, I'll be able to show some of those video highlights. So, if something happens to your game and it's something that you like, if you are not broadcasting, you can use the double tap basically of your Xbox button and hit X, and it will record back 30 seconds of that play that you had happen. So doing that. If you are broadcasting, or if you want to, pick it up after the game, you can always go into your highlights, after you've stopped your broadcast. Hopefully this year we can do that. I know last year was a problem with that, but hopefully this year we're good on that. You can go in and check the highlights out there, look at them, and then with your broadcast stopped, you can use what I talked about, is double tapping that Xbox button, and you can run back 30 seconds. Let me know when you've done that, and I can go out and look on xboxclips.com and find the highlights and look at them. So, you guys didn't know that now, but I did go through just looking at who had highlights out there currently. Did find 5 highlights that I'm going to show for you guys today. And again, we'll try to bring this out and show highlights in our weekly show as we go forward. So, first highlight we've got is from JCB, new guy coming in. And I pulled this highlight because I think it's something kind of interesting to look at. And let's bring that window up here. That usually will help, won't it? So we'll bring that window up here first. So something interesting I thought to talk about on this highlight. And I'm playing with things as I learn this little system here. So let's do that and fix there. There we go. That should center it up a little bit. So fumbles are definitely a little bit bigger this year. I think everybody will start to notice that fumbles happen quite a bit more. So this is a pretty good highlight. Getting a nice little forced fumble right at the goal line as you'll see the Redskins player trying to dive over the cross of the goal line. So let's take a look at this. So nice little highlight, I thought. So Boogie, what's your thoughts on fumbles this year? Being that there's fumbles out there, there's a little more. What are you seeing?
Well, there's a lot of fumbles. And it seems to me that the CPU can generate more fumbles against you than you can generate against the CPU. I like the addition of the fumbles. It's a nice mechanic. But I do believe that a tuning update went out today to downplay some of the fumbles.
Oh, okay.
That's what I read or heard about. So I like the addition of fumbles, but when my guy fumbles in a CFM game and costs me points or game, I am going to be very upset. And if I could reach through the controller and choke my opponent, then I would do that. But since I can't do that, I'll just be mad at EA.
All right. So we will. So that's. Bogey's talking a little bit about his rage there. He definitely has that. And we'll give you a little insight on some rage that we're going to clue into you guys in just a little bit. So. All right, so next clip I've got, so we picked up a clip from Spaz. This is iSpaz in our chat, but this is Spaz. I thought this was pretty interesting. So Spaz, this must have been one of the little challenges, and only needing to do certain things because as he comes out of the huddle, I think his guy either has some amnesia, doesn't know which way to go. He decides to take back, go the other way. And that's one thing. I wouldn't have even grabbed it for this, but the funny part that I got out of this clip was that he does this little spin, and it's a fumble. Picked up. Spaz says, all right, I'll get this back. Oh, he's got it. Nope, here comes another guy. He picks it up, and in for the touchdown. Not what I think he was trying to do there.
Yeah, I think that was one of the passing ones where he was running backwards to get more room to pass for like 200 or 300 yards before the half, if I remember right.
Good stuff. Next clip, I actually pulled one of my own clips. I've seen some goofy things. I had a different clip originally, but then I decided to go with this clip. So this is another fumble that kind of happens, and my tag for this is how many guys does it take to recover a fumble? Let's watch.
Nice pass completion.
Pile them up.
Well, here's what I want to know. What are those other 4 dudes doing?
Yeah, I mean, there was, I think, 18 guys in that pile if I counted them up. Like you said, why weren't my other 4 guys decided to get in on that? So
It must have been O-linemen. We're not supposed to touch the ball.
All right, next clip. A little more, not as funny on these, but watch this clip from El Motofoque. And he had just scored a touchdown, just needed that extra point to tie the game up. And this is something new we're seeing. Well, first of all, pylon cam there, but this is something new that we're seeing this season, this year as well. So lines up for the kick and
Block City.
not only blocked, but returned the other way for the 2 points.
So, he needed that to tie, and he ends up losing by 3?
Yeah. Yeah. Unless he ended up winning. I mean, obviously I don't have that part of the clip, but just again, another interesting clip I thought was there. So. And the last one is I pulled a clip from you, Bogey. Nothing funny here, but this is something I'm just telling everybody out there to watch out for when you play Bogey. This guy knows how to user his linebackers. Take a look at this lurk.
Which one's this? Oh, yeah.
Nice pick. I'm just warning you, boys. He knows where to find the ball. So that's all the videos I've got. One thing we did want to mention is bringing up Spaz is a YouTuber, a young YouTuber just starting out. So if you guys haven't checked him out, he should be checked out. His YouTube channel is iSpaz. That's A-Y space Spaz, S-P-A-Z-Z. Check his YouTube out, and one big reason I want to bring it up is his latest YouTube video that he just put out is pretty hilarious. I haven't watched it yet, but I lived it, and I know it's going to be hilarious. It's basically him, Bogey, and myself, all 3 trying to do the latest MUT puzzle challenge, and it was the last challenge on the All Madden against, who was that against, the Broncos?
Denver,
yeah. Yeah, against Denver, and I mean, we were going nuts. I mean, you have to watch it. I don't want to give too much away on that. I know one part that's in there on me, so it's pretty funny. Probably, I'm assuming, because I know we were all yelling. 3 guys yelling was hilarious. And I said it yesterday in the chat but when we're playing MUT, feel free to join our chat, guys. We're all about having fun. That's the whole point of this community. Get out and join us. And come on in and have fun with us, and we'll give you tips on MUT. We definitely know MUT pretty well. We'll tell you, if you want a guy to know who to get. I know Bogey's kind of, he acts like he's not going to tell people and wants people to go learn it himself. But if you get in the chat, just talk with him, he'll give you tips. I guarantee it. It's what he's done for me. As much as I don't want to give Tut tips, we give Tut tips last year. So, it's all about that. We lab every now and then together, and at that time we might go private. But most of the time, feel free to join us. So, anything you want to add before we head out here for the night, Bogey?
Yeah, just guys, seriously, check out iSpaz's YouTube. He says it's A-Spaz, A-Y, and then it's basically just like his Slack, except there's no underscore. So A-Y space S-P-A-Z-Z. He's a newer YouTuber. He's trying to get going. he has some pretty stupid stuff up there, but he has some neat stuff as well. So give it a look. And like Fat said, if you see us in chat or you see us online in a party on Madden or whatever, just join, ask questions, and we share. I'd say we share 99 to 100% of our knowledge with pretty much anybody. And it's all about community, and it's all about getting better. And MUT's fun. It can be very frustrating. But the more guys we get into MUT, then maybe we can actually do a tournament at some point where everybody plays against everybody with their MUT team, something like that. And I know we tried to do that last year, but we didn't have enough guys that got into it. We've got some guys that are into it, at least right now. So hopefully we can get something going and maybe add to our MFPL experience with a little bit of MUT League stuff too.
Cool. All right, so again, keep following this channel. Let other guys know about the league if you know anybody. So again, we're always looking for guys. We like to take recommendations. I don't go out there and really post on many sites. I just, when I see guys here and there mention something on maybe a site that I belong to or a chat I belong to, that's when I mention it. But we don't promote out there, just so you guys know, just to bring in anybody. We're not looking for a user to come in looking to cheat, looking to do whatever and do that. We're here to build a community. That's why we keep our numbers where they are right now, and we will grow if we get the right guys, and that's how we want to grow. I'm all about having fun here. I've now known Bogey for probably 12 to 13 years that we met gaming, playing FIFA. So again, it's just about community, and it's been a good time, good fun time. I know I've even met El Motofoque out there, so it's been good times. So come check us out at premiergamingleagues.com and sign up or send me an email at premiergamingleagues@gmail.com. All right, that's all I got. Anything you want to add, Bogey?
Nope. We appreciate you guys showing up and watching, and let's have a good MFPL season. And for goodness sakes, Ultimate Niner, please submit your picks so the draft can move forward. The 24 hours is a guideline, not an actual attempt to use all 24 hours. Let's go. Make your pick.
All right, guys. Take care. Peace.